well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Welcome to another edition of Bearing Arms, Cam and Company. My name is Cam Edwards. Glad that you are with me here on the last show of the week. Just a programming note, I'm actually going to be off on Monday as well because I'll be hanging out with today's guest, Phillip Van Cleave of the Virginia Citizens Defense League at the Virginia State Capitol. It is Lobby Day on Monday, January 15th, and I'm very excited to be one of the speakers there at the VCDL's rally coming up on Monday morning. We're going to talk all about it, as well as the onslaught of gun control bills that have been introduced by Virginia Democrats this year. Anybody who thought that they would be, going easy after winning a narrow majority in the state legislature, while you've got a Republican governor. Nope, it is full speed ahead. They are trying to turn Virginia into East California, maybe South New York, but they're definitely trying to Californicate our right to keep and bear arms. And let's get right to it with our discussion with Phillip Van Cleave of the Virginia Citizens Defense League. Take a look and a listen. Phillip, thank you so much for being on the program today. It's good to see you, sir.
Hey, Cam. Good seeing you, too.
I'm looking forward to connecting in person on Monday. And boy, listen, if Virginia gun owners thought this was going to be a quiet session, there's no need for me to go to Richmond. We got, Governor Youngkin there. He's going to stop every bad bill that gets to his desk. Listen, we need to show up. We need to turn out because the laundry list of gun control bills that have been filed, first of all, there's no guarantee that Governor Youngkin's going to veto all of these things. I sure hope he does. But, we need to do our part to show lawmakers just how unpopular, how unfeasible, how unconstitutional these bills are. I was looking at your latest alert from the Virginia Citizens Defense League, which came out this morning. Holy cow, Phil. Can I just run down the list of some of the latest bills? Make carry of an air gun on school property a felony. Take away gun rights for 5 years for a simple assault for a misdemeanor crime. Require new and renewing CHP holders to be fingerprinted. Don't know why we need to do that. Make it illegal for anybody under the age of 21 to buy any kind of firearm. This after a federal judge in Virginia said that the ban on handgun sales for under 21s is unconstitutional. Now Democrats want to double down on this. 5% tax on guns and ammunition, 5-day waiting period. They're taking a page out of California with SB2 and NRA and US CCA firearm instructors would no longer be able to teach concealed carry courses. We're already seeing the havoc that's causing in California. And as you point out, even NRA license plates, they're trying to take away. I mean, Phil, they're throwing everything, including the kitchen sink, at gun owners this session.
Yeah, the NRA just shows the level of hatred for gun owners that some of these, and disrespect that some of these people have. I mean, you look at the fact that they wanted to take away concealed carry in restaurants that serve alcohol. There have been zero problems. They can track permit holders. So that bill was aimed at people like you and me and the people listening to this that are good people that don't do anything wrong, but they want to come after you. They don't care. They don't want you to carry in restaurants just because they don't want it. This is not because there's a problem. This is because they don't like it. And that's not the way a law is supposed to be written. You're not supposed to write a law to go after somebody like the NRA just because you don't like them. To me, that's an abuse as a legislator to make it a personal vendetta against an organization or against a group of people like permit holders.
Yep, absolutely. And by the way, the bills that I just rattled off, those were all of the bills that were introduced this week. As you point out, we've also got, the ban on so-called assault weapons, right? You've got actually competing bans, because you've got one that would make so-called assault weapons and large capacity magazines illegal. You've got one that would make assault weapon possession illegal if you're under the age of 21. They've got, carry bans in hospitals, emergency rooms, a 3-day waiting period bill, and then a 5-day waiting period bill.
Yes.
And you say that there's more coming today, right?
Yeah, I expect. Yeah, so it can be again. Now there are also some good bills, and we're going to have some more good ones. They've been coming in, but our focus is primarily on the stuff that could do major damage to our ability to protect ourselves. But yeah, there is more coming in, and it's just incredible. I mean, even if you have a rifle that was made before 1968 that isn't serialized, the way the language is written, that gun is illegal unless you take that gun that was made in 1920 to an FFL that can serialize it. And in turn, for some guns, that could lower the value to deface what the original gun was. Collectors are looking for the original thing. Look, this is aimed. They're just trying to shut us down from every angle they can come at. I mean, why would you go after permit holders? They have, again, they can track them. They know that it's a fraction of 1% that lose their permit for any reason. And it's rare that that reason is a crime. It could be somebody suddenly has maybe a mental issue. Fine, they take their permit away until things are fixed. That's not a crime. And there are other things of that nature. But no, they're trying to. They don't want you to be able to get training easily. So that means that you're going to have to find an instructor that's been certified by the Department of Criminal Justice Services, and that's an expensive procedure and time-consuming for the instructor. The costs are going to be up. Trying to find instructors willing to go through all of that is going to be tough. And again, this is the intent. Let's be clear. This isn't accidental. Oh, he really hadn't thought about it. No, they're trying to make it so that it's like, oh man, getting a permit in Virginia. Oh my God. You got to find the instructors. It's really expensive. And it takes time. You can't carry anywhere. They're trying to slowly do the New York and Maryland thing and California thing. All of the stuff they're doing, I'm making notes. This stuff has been overturned in other states, but they're plowing forward.
I mean, some of this stuff, like I said, has been overturned in our state, right? Or you've got this federal judge, you've got a student from Hampton City University. I think now his younger brother is the lead plaintiff in this case, challenging the handgun ban on under 21s. Federal judge of Virginia said, that's unconstitutional. They're trying to certify this as a class action a lawsuit, so this would apply, to every individual under the age of 21. But it is amazing, and you're right. This is not about common sense. This is not about, masquerading as, reasonable measures. No, this is targeting the right to keep and bear arms. This is targeting the right itself. It's targeting the lawful gun owners who exercise that right. And it is trying to criminalize that right. And what's so sad, Phil, is that I'm going to go there. Democrats in Virginia have a long history of trampling on the civil rights of Virginia residents. Back in the 1950s and the 1960s, it was let's shut down the public schools rather than integrate. And here it is. Let's make it impossible for people to exercise their right to self-defense. Let's stop where they can carry. Let's make it hard for them to get the license. As you say, just simply removing NRA and USCCA instructors, that California's taken that step. And right now it is virtually impossible for people to take a concealed carry course and apply because Cal DOJ hasn't come up with the new standards yet. When they do release those new standards, of course, then it's going to take time for those firearms instructors to comply. As you say, it's going to be a very expensive process for those firearms instructors to get the training that the state is now going to mandate. So the pool of instructors is going to shrink down. The money that they're going to charge, by the way, for classes is going to have to increase, right? So on both ends, they are trying to squeeze those individuals who are trying to comply with the law, who want to comply with the law, as long as those laws truly are reasonable and respectful of our civil rights.
Yeah, and exactly. But they don't care about any of that. And they use crime, of course. Crime is the excuse. I've talked about this before. Crime has been going down for a long time, and gun ownership was going up. So they had to drive the crime up because they didn't have a good excuse with crime plummeting. So that's when they defunded the police. That's when they let violent criminals out early. They got rid of bail, all those things, and restricted where you could carry. All that was thrown out to drive the crime rate up. And it did drive up starting in 2019, 2020, 2021. It was going up, and they were, oh, look at this. Look at how high it's going. Oh, it's these guns. And it was artificial. It was treachery, is what it was. Treason, basically. They were letting Americans get killed to further their agenda. That seemed to be okay with them, and it seems to still be okay.
Well, there are a lot of us who are not okay with this, and we've got the opportunity to petition our government for a redress of our grievances coming up on Monday, January 15th. Give folks the details about the VCDL Lobby Day.
Okay, yeah, VCDL Lobby Day. We have on our website, there's a lot of details right there that you can look at. It's vcdl.org/ all one word, Lobby Day 2024. And that's got buses that you can be on if you want, or we've got a setup where you can check your guns at a specially configured bus that'll be just a half a block away from the General Assembly, just a real right there, basically. And that way you can check your gun, go into the General Assembly, and then come out and rearm yourself. During the rally from 10 to 11, we're hoping to have as many people as possible inside the Capitol Square, but they're going to have to be disarmed. But we got to do what we got to do, guys. We can't just shy away. We got to fight this. And to do that, some of us are going to have to disarm and go in there so that when the speakers are talking, there's a lot of people around them. And we want a lot of people in the General Assembly building. So everywhere a legislator looks, there's people with guns saves lives. We've done this before, and it's powerful. Now, in the streets, we've got a map on the website that shows where, if you're carrying a gun, if you're going to carry a gun, you can't go in those places. But the street, 9th Street, by the General Assembly, between 9th and Bank Broad, and actually it's Broad and Bank, on 9th Street, they're going to cut off traffic. People will be able to stay in the street. They'll be able to be on the sidewalk away on the opposite side, away from the Capitol Square. The sidewalk that goes around Capitol Square, if you're armed, you can't be on that sidewalk. It's all stupid. I can't justify any of this gun control stuff. And Bank Street, up to, there's some barriers there, but right in front of the Commonwealth Hotel, that area of Bank Street will also be closed off and open for people to stand. Those people will be fairly close to where the rally will be, but we're hoping to twist some speakers so that you'll be able to hear in the street what's inside. But again, we want that big picture like we got in 2020. We probably aren't going to get 50,000 people. We should,
right?
Easily. There's 750,000 permit holders, not to mention all the hunters and other people out there. We should be able to recreate that picture. But what made that picture work from 2020, that massive wall of people, was that thousands said, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and leave my gun in my car, or I'm gonna check my gun, and I'm gonna go in to that area unarmed as a patriot to show, to be there, to fill all that in. And it worked beautifully. Those people, I bless every one of them that did that. Yep. And I'm glad to have the people in the streets armed around it. That makes everything safer. But that's, go to the website. Cam, Cam's gonna be one of our main speakers. So I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, listen, I'm looking forward to it as well. I appreciate the invite, and you've got a fantastic lineup of folks who are going to be speaking. Dan Wass is going to be there, good guy with a gun. I don't have the website right in front of me, but Delegate Nick Freitas, I believe, is speaking as well. Who are some of the other speakers there?
Oh, Jared with Guns and Gadgets.
Oh, that's right.
Jared Yanis, yeah, he's going to be there. Eric Pratt with Gun Owners of America.
Excellent.
Will be there. John McGuire will be there.
My state senator, as a matter of fact. Yes, so there you go.
That's brand new. Yes, he'll be there.
I can do some of my lobbying outside while I'm waiting to speak. And listen, this, and I will say, not only is it is critically important for gun owners to turn out. It is critically important for us to use our voice, for us to exercise our First Amendment rights in defense of our Second Amendment rights. But I will also say, even from it's a great chance to meet your fellow gun owners. That was one of the coolest things about Lobby Day. Every time I go out there, I'm meeting people from, around the state, sometimes really close to where I live, who I've never met before. And it's a way for us to build that community that they're also, the gun control advocates, they don't just want to take away our right to keep and bear arms. I mean, you look at what they're doing, trying to shut down gun shows in California. They want to obliterate that community of lawful gun owners, right? They don't want us talking to one another. They don't want us getting together so we can think up ways to defeat their anti-gun agenda. They want us siloed and silenced. And this is a fantastic way to rebuke them on both counts, to show up, to use your voice, and again, to grow the Second Amendment community in the state of Virginia. The Commonwealth, excuse me, if I don't say Commonwealth of Virginia, people are going to get angry at me. So,
okay. The whole thing is they want a socialist or a communist country. It's unbelievable that I'm even saying that. It would have sounded conspiratorial 20, 30 years ago, but no, some of them are very clear about what they want, and they can't get it with 100 million armed gun owners. And we've got the people to stand up. There are plenty of us, but we've got to get off our butts. The problem is a lot of those people don't get off their rear ends. They take life for granted. Don't take freedom for granted. Please don't do that. It's a precious commodity, and there are plenty of people that want to snap it away. They don't want us to have it, and they're serious about it.
Yep.
So if you want it for your children and your grandchildren and so forth and so on, you're going to have to stand up and push back, and it's going to be unpleasant. It's going to take time in a busy world, but if you don't do it, they're not going to stop.
Exactly right. Phillip Van Cleave of the Virginia Citizens Defense League. I will see you Monday morning in downtown Richmond on Capitol Square, sir.
Looking forward to it, Cam.
Me too. Thank you so much for your time today, and I'll see you on Monday.
You.
My thanks to Phillip for joining us on the program today, and I hope to see you out at the Virginia State Capitol on Monday for the VCDL's Lobby Day rally. Good chance not only to meet some of your fellow gun owners, but again, to actually interact with your representatives and state senators. Well, I guess in Virginia, your delegate and state senators as well. Right now, let's turn our attention to today's Armed Citizen story, our good deed of the day, and our recidivist report. We'll start there. I confess, I wrote about this at Bearing Arms earlier today because this just, it incensed me when I saw this. CWB Chicago reporting a 61-year-old woman not expected to survive after he was savagely beaten on a Chicago Transit Authority train in the Loop downtown by a guy, again, 8-time felon, currently on parole for robbing a undercover Chicago police officer back in 2021. He did just 3 years of his 6-year sentence before he was paroled back in August. Prosecutors say that the individual was on a train about 1:30 on the morning of January the 4th, along with this 61-year-old woman. He originally tried to steal the woman's bag that morning, then launched into a violent attack. All of this caught on surveillance footage. Pinned her head on a seat, and then repeatedly punched her in the head and stomach. Officials say he stomped on her body and then left her on the train. CTA employees found the woman unresponsive when the train arrived at the Roosevelt station. Prosecutors told a judge that the woman is, quote, on a ventilator and is brain dead and is not expected to survive. And again, the suspect in this case, Mijuan Johnson, paroled in August after serving basically half of a 6-year sentence that he received for robbing a undercover narcotics officer on St. Patrick's Day in 2021. In that case, according to CWB Chicago, Johnson held his hand to his side as if he had a gun, ordered the undercover cop to give him cash and his phone. The officer did so with pre-recorded serial numbers intended for drug purchases. Other cops then moved in and arrested Johnson when the covert officer gave him a secret signal to alert them that he was being robbed. At the time of that arrest, he was also on parole for aggravated battery of a police officer. He was sentenced to prison 6 other times between 2007 and 2015, according to CWB Chicago, all for narcotics, not violent crimes. But that has obviously changed now that he is facing charges in this assault of a 61-year-old woman in a gun-free zone, by the way, because the state of Illinois prohibits concealed carry on public transportation. I counted at least 3 fatal shootings on Chicago's Red Line alone within a week period in late December. Again, in these gun-free zones. Criminals don't seem to care that they're not allowed to bring weapons. And again, even if they are just using their fists and feet, they are still able to attack their victims with impunity. A 61-year-old woman is not going to be able to fight back against a man half her age, maybe even twice her size. But it is forbidden for her or anybody else who possesses a concealed carry license to lawfully carry a firearm on a bus or a train in Chicago or the rest of the state of Illinois. And criminals sure do seem to be taking advantage of that fact. Today's Armed Citizen story from Indiana, where officials say a shooting of an intruder in South Bend last month was justifiable. Prosecutor says the shooting happened on Beale Street in South Bend on December 14th. When officers arrived, they found a 68-year-old man identified as Richard Davis suffering from an apparent gunshot wound. He was taken to a nearby hospital where he passed away. Police conducted interviews with witnesses, including the homeowner, and the homeowner explained that he and his wife had arrived home that evening. They were getting ready to enter their home, and the security system notified them of an alarm. So before they're even in the house. So the homeowner then asked his wife, hey, stay in the car. And he walked around to the rear of his property. As he approached the gate, an unknown male, later identified as Davis, moved towards the homeowner while holding a chainsaw above his shoulders. According to police, the homeowner advised that when Davis brandished the chainsaw, he feared that he would be seriously injured or killed. So he fired his handgun once, then yelled for his wife to call 911. Police say the homeowner and his wife were made to the scene, were cooperative with investigators. After reviewing the investigation, The prosecutor's office said that they cannot disprove that the shooting of Mr. Davis constituted a justifiable homicide, and as such, no criminal charges will be filed. So the prosecutor isn't ruling that this was a case of self-defense, but it sounds like he says he can't prove otherwise. Based on all of the circumstances, it would appear that the homeowner had a legitimate fear for his life at the time. Again, you're in the dark and all of a sudden a guy with a chainsaw starts approaching you. That's like a scene out of a horror movie. Police apparently did not make an arrest at the scene. So even then, there were indications that this was self-defense. And again, that, not confirmed by the prosecutor, but the prosecutor not bringing any charges in this case because it sounds like he doesn't believe he could convince a jury that this was anything other than an act of self-defense. Finally today, our good deed of the day in the right place at the right time, willing and able to do the right thing. Police officers in Naperville, Illinois, were able to rescue 2 adults and a child after their car crashed into a retaining pond. Boy, this happens way more frequently than you think, you know. Body cam video shows the officers jumping into the water. This was last Tuesday near the 95th Street Library in Naperville. As they approached the car, they realized that the car's doors will not open because of the pressure of the water. So they had to break open the windows, then open the car door, or open the car doors, and then get the passengers out. Once they had broken through the glass, the 3 individuals inside the vehicle were taken to a nearby hospital. Thankfully, no serious injuries. The responding officers suffered some cuts from the glass, but otherwise okay. That could have been very different if those officers hadn't arrived on scene when they did, waded into the icy cold waters to extricate those individuals. At the very least, those individuals would have been suffering from some, hypothermia and other injuries. And if the officers hadn't arrived, perhaps even fatal injuries if they had not been discovered in time. So again, in the right place at the right time, willing and able to do the right thing. Tip of the hat to those officers in Naperville. All right, so we will see you here next Tuesday. Again, going to be off on Monday because I'll be in Richmond. My colleague Tom Knighton will be holding down the fort at BarronArms.com. And of course, I'd encourage you to check out all of our coverage of the latest Second Amendment news and information from all across the nation between now and the next time that we speak face to face, or at least face to computer or car speaker. I don't know. BarronArms.com. That is the website. Check it out for all of the latest Second Amendment news and information. We've got you covered, whether it's legislation, armed citizen stories, litigation, and more. If you like what you see, I'd also encourage you to become a VIP or VIP Gold member. Just go to BarronArms.com/subscribe. Use the promo code GUNRIGHTS, and you can get a significant savings on your membership. Until we talk again, be well, be safe, and be free.